Welcome back, guys. This is wolfwire Studios, and first of all, I owe you guys an apology. I'm sorry for being inactive for so long, um, and I'm sorry about my manners. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, and I hope you guys will have amazing winter holidays and a happy New Year. This is the last devlog for this year, and this year was honestly full of ups and downs and whatnot. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around, and I hope you guys will stick around and see through this game that I'm making. And again, I apologize for being so inactive. I was actually facing a lot of issues. I had some sort of a medical emergency in my family, and my PC was not working properly. My motherboard died and whatnot. So, yeah, I was not able to work at all on this project. On the flip side, I was actually able to write some dialogues while I was away, but it's okay. Yeah. So, what all I've done in this update, let's just talk about that. So, as you can see, the annex looks very nice with all the floodlights and everything set up. So, yeah, that's what I've done. I've set up these dual floodlights. I hope you guys remember these from the last devlogs. I've given them some lights. I've given these attached floodlights some lights as well, some lighting. I've added these glow sticks, as you can see, these red color glow sticks, and I've added some floor floodlights, as you can see here, right? So yeah, these are the ones that I made on my own in Blender. These floor floodlights and these glow sticks, I made them on my own. And you guys might be wondering, I mean, I'm sure you might be wondering, how am I able to have all of these lights inside one single place and still have, 60 FPS? So, well, my friends, these are floodlights, okay? I'm sorry. I'm actually very sleepy right now. These are fill lights, okay? Fill lights are not normal lights, okay? Of course, they are point lights, but they have a different setting. So if you guys will look here, these have some higher value of soft source radius, okay? Other than that, these have almost no indirect lighting intensity. Volumetric is basically optional, and intensity is up to you. And of course, the radius as well, but they don't have this inverse squared fall off, as you can see here. See, they don't use the typical light fall off values. Okay, they use something of their own. Basically, they don't use that, they use the exponent that you give them. So that's why and yeah, moreover, they don't cast any shadows. Okay, it's that cast shadows. I don't know. Yeah, it was somewhere here. Anyways, they don't cast shadows, okay? As you can see, cast static shadows, I can just disable them. Cast dynamic shadows, I can disable that as well. Contact shadows, basically, yeah, sorry, this cast shadows. I'm really sorry. As you can see, if I enable this one, so they don't cast any shadows and they have such peculiar values, and that's why they are called fill lights. You can place them and expect some sort of radiance and illuminance. The problem with these fill lights is like they may not give you the accurate result that you're expecting, but they'll work very closely with the object you aspire to illuminate. If I hide this one, as you can see, these uh, emissive planes on these floodlights, they are good, but they are not casting any lights, right? And it's actually very, very dark if I remove all of these point lights, so I had to add them. That's it about these fill lights, okay? And also there is this setting that I adjusted, this max draw distance and the fade radius. Okay, so I set them to 200 and 5000 respectively. So if you guys look closely on these lights, these ones here, if I glow, yeah, see, they are glowing, right? And now they are not. So this is just like let's say, popping in, lights are popping in, basically the draw distance. So I added the same settings on these lights. Let's talk about the floodlights. Why are they looking so illuminated? These are the floodlights, okay? As you can see, let's take the single one, for example. It has a plane here, which is using a different material, floodlights instance. So this material is unlit material, which is giving me more illumination and emissive values than anything else. Okay, so what I'm doing here in event graph is I'm just On begin play casting to the player, I am toggling this basically timer by event. Okay, I'm just using this custom event on a timer every second, and I'm just using the player reference to check the time, the current time, and I'll tell you what I've done with the time. Okay, and I'm just checking that if this time value is in this range, basically greater than 7 p.m. and less than 5 p.m. If it is true, by doing the or boolean, if it is true, basically that means it's night, and I'm creating a dynamic material of that material instance, and I'm setting the scalar parameter as high value because it's night, and I'm using this attached light, and I'm just setting its visibility. Which attached light, you might ask? This. Now this is a variable present in every floodlight. Okay, let's say this one. So this floodlight has a variable, as you can see, attached light, and this floodlight has this light as its attached light. As you can see, the name is exterior fill light 23. If I click on this one, as you can see, 23. So this floodlight blueprint instance is able to control this particular light because it's, receiving that value on runtime. So that is why it's able to hide it or unhide it whenever you want, right? So that is the code that I'm using to turn on and turn off the lights. But how am I doing that? Well, guys, I've created a time of the day system. As you can see, time of day. Um, Let me show you guys in action. Here it is. This is the level blueprint, as you can see, and it's not that huge, but yeah, it's still huge. I was trying to follow some tutorials that were on YouTube with respect to level, blueprints and making time of day and whatnot, but then I decided I'll do something on my own. So on begin play again, I'm casting to my character and I'm saving it as a reference. I'm using this particular struct array, okay, and I'm getting some sort of value. I'm doing something here, as you can see, and I'm just setting the relative rotation. The relative rotation is like setting the proper rotation of the directional light being the sunlight in the scene, right? And I'm just making a rotator out of a float value. Now, what is this value? This is a struct, and it has 24 elements here, as you can see. What do these elements contain? Let's say this. Element 10 has an integer and a float value. Integer depicts the time of day, as you can see, it's written here, and the sun angle is the float value. So I have manually hard coded the values that I want to use for the time of day cycle with respect to any particular hour of the day. Okay, so let's say if the hour of the day is 10 a.m., I want the angle to be minus 112.5. So that's what I'm doing. So it's a variable. As you can see, it's a slider. I can just slide it. It's a custom variable, right? You can just map the range here. And that is what I'm doing. I can just start from whatever time I want. So this system basically gives me some form of control, right? If I want to get the level blueprint and maybe tell this variable and fetch it or customize the code, I can just adjust, you know, this particular variable and I'll be able to play with it. So I'm just fetching that particular variable using this, sorry, that particular value using this variable as an index, and I'm just getting the float value by breaking it, and that's all. I'm just using that to make a rotator. Now this happens on begin play. So if I set this value 18, like let's say if I set this value 9, so it will be 9 in the game, okay, 9 a.m. Let's just see what I'm doing with the time of day. This is the event tick. It's literally like I have to run it on an event tick. There's no other option. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just multiplying it by something so that it's frame rate independent. And this is the sun speed, how fast you want the cycle to be. I'm setting it 1.1, but realistically you should set it to 0.4 or 0.3 for a nice, slow time of day cycle. This is the clock. Let's see what the clock is doing. It's actually getting the same starting time variable, which I have set here as 18, and it is getting the delta time as this multiplier. Okay. So they basically, this multiplier is again multiplying into something and then adding to a variable. The variable is tick. Okay. So what's happening here is the tick, which is already a multiplied variable, is again being multiplied and added on top of it. It is 0, right? And let's say the delta time that I'm receiving is 0.08. Okay, then I'll be multiplying it with 240. and then adding it to tick. And every time I'm doing that, every second tick is being increased, right? So why am I multiplying it with 240? Because, well, a minute has 60 seconds, an hour has 60 minutes, and we have 24 hours in a day and 360, almost 360 days. So let's just round it about. And yeah, we are truncating that particular float, and we are truncating it to an int, making a time span out of it, as you can see, using the seconds value, because this is a very dynamic value, right? It is changing every second. These are the seconds increment. Okay, we're feeding that and making a time variable, and we are using this starting time hours variable as an offset in the hours. Okay, so if that variable is, let's say, 18 hours will be added to this clock, and the clock will start from the 18th hour of the day, that is 6 p.m. Then we are just breaking that time and saving the hours and minutes here, as you can see. As you can see, again, this is a variable from the player character. Let me show you guys this. It's a very simple function, receive time. It is just receiving that time value and setting it locally inside my player. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So now the player is also able to receive the time along with the level. The level is calculating and sending it off to the player. Okay, so this is the thing that I wanted to tell you guys, the digital clocks. I'm adding it in post editing, and here it is. So as you can see, these clocks are getting the exact same time value from the player, and they are updating themselves. These are just simple text renders running on this particular static mesh, and that's all. I'm just updating them, and there we have digital clocks. Now let's go back to the video. Yeah, thanks. Now let's quickly see how the sun is rotating. Well, take it this way. Okay, since it's not a very simple method of doing time of day, like I want it to be in my control totally fully. So what I did was I used this struct again on this current hours variable. So what you want, basically you want the sun to rotate from one particular angle to the other in a span of whatever time you have. Let's say let's if let me just explain it again. You want the sun to rotate from x to y in a particular amount of time. Okay, that being delta t. So you want that delta time to be in sync with the time of day speed that you have. I hope it makes sense, right? Let's say if the speed is normal to what we have in real life. So you want that sun to transition its angles from one particular value to the other whenever an hour changes, right? So that is what you want to do in game. Let's say the current hours is 18 and I want to have some transition from 18 to 19. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the angle at 18, that is 6 p.m. And then I'm also getting the angle at the next hour, that is 18 plus 1, 19, 7 p.m. I'm getting those two angles and I am able to ease them between, like ease in, ease out. If you guys have edited some videos or know about animation curves, there is this ease function, right? It smoothens out the transition. So I'm transitioning from A to B. This is basically a lerp function, you can say. It's an interpolate function, A to B, using the alpha. Alpha is the transition. And what is the alpha? This is the alpha. The current minutes will always go from 0 to 59, right? So the in range is 0 to 59. I'm using this unclamped map range. So the in range, the input is 0 to 59 and the output is 0 to 1. So basically, if the current minutes are, let's say, 25, so it will be around 0.4 something. Okay, so that's the alpha. And that is what we are using to set the relative rotation of the directional light. So yeah, whenever you'll play it, it's just going to run a bit fast. Okay, let me just set the speed to 1, which is honestly still fast for the game. Now what I'm doing for the day and night cycle is I'm just simply checking the current hours. If it is greater than 19 and less than 4, basically night time. If it is, and I'm doing the OR boolean, so if it is true, let me just quickly make a note here. If it is night time, as you can see here, then I just want to set the intensity to a higher value, setting the color blue of the directional light, and doing the same with the skylight, because that is how I'm able to get some good values. And if it is day, then I'm just setting it to the default values that I want, that being 1.25 and 1 for the skylight respectively, and white color for both of them, because that's how they are generally. So that's it with the time of day cycle, guys. I hope that is clear to you. The same is with the floodlights. You guys might be asking what this function does. This deactivate function, basically what I'm doing is I'm using the firing function in my player blueprint, okay, and I'm checking that whatever I'm firing using the line trace, if it is a dual floodlight, the exterior ones, if it is a single floodlight, the ones that is sticked on the walls, or if it is the floor floodlight, if it is any three of those, I just want to call this function disable attached light. Simple as that. Every floodlight has this same exact same function, so I'm not going to show you guys the other blueprints. It's just I'm getting the variable, okay, I'm checking if it is valid, I'm just setting it invisible, and I'm setting the emissive plane, this plane, I'm setting this plane as creating a dynamic material instance and setting its parameter value as 0.05, and also calling this variable light disabled, because if the light is disabled, then we don't want to, set it to this particular thing. If the light is disabled, then you don't want it to be bright, right? Because you just shot it. So that's what this is for. I hope this is clear. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And this is the glow stick blueprint. I'm just simply using the mesh as you, uh, this particular mesh. Okay, I'm just getting its element 1 index. I'm getting that, and I'm just setting the vector parameter value of the color. This is just a rough thing. Okay, so don't worry about it. I'm just checking if the attached point light, it also has an attached point light variable, as you can see. If it is valid, I just want to cast to the player and then run a timer, get the time of day, and then just simply make it invisible or visible according to the time of day. If it is night, I want it visible. If it is day, I want it hidden. Simple as that. And also setting the emissive value of this particular material. So yeah, that's it, guys. Um, that's all what I have done in terms of progress. And again, I'm sorry, I had a lot of stuff going on, but now I'll try to be more consistent. Okay, on the flip side, I have a surprise to show you guys. Let's just see Metahumans. If you guys are following me on Twitter, you might have already seen the poster that I created for my Metahumans. I've created 6 Metahumans, the 6 main protagonists for my game. The problem is Metahumans are very heavy, so I haven't implemented them on the main character yet. They are very heavy and it's not easy to run. Like I'm getting 60, 70 FPS right now. I won't be even getting half of that if I use the Metahuman. I really need to find a way to just simply optimize them. And this is Jack. Yeah, I'm not zooming in because it's going to go over the VRAM and the recording is going to crash. So yeah, this is Jack. That's all, the protagonist. I'll have to add it into the player blueprint here, and only then I can use it in my game, but currently I'm not able to use it. Also, on a side note, guys, I have a bug in UE5 again, like literally again. I don't know if they're going to patch it in Unreal Engine 5.2 because it's not patched in 5.1. 5.1 still has the same bug. So anyways, the bug is with respect to virtual bones. I made a Reddit post about it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically, I'm not able to add virtual bones to the skeleton, and hence I'm not able to use inverse kinematics in some form that I want. So I'll have to either, find some alternative or maybe make different animations or find something entirely different. So yeah, let's just quickly see this in action. As you can see, I've switched back to the UE5 skeleton because I'll have to add metahumans. And as you can see this, the sun is setting down. And if I press P, I can see the time of the day. Now it's 19. Let's just quickly jump here. As you can see, 1950, 1955, and the lights turn on. Voila, see? That's what I was talking about. But the frame rate has tanked, as you can see. There is nothing I can do. Even if yeah, I don't know what is this thing that's tanking the frame rate. But yeah, that's it, guys. So these are the lights. Of course, they are taking a lot of performance. Oh, it's fixed. See, Something else is the problem. I don't know what exactly it is. And these fill lights are, good for performance, if you ask me. You can put a lot of them in one single place and not worry about performance that much. Of course, they're going to overlap, they will be complex, but it's not as heavy as what you might expect. Also, I've added leaning, if you guys remember from the last devlog, and I've fixed the angles. So as you can see, if I take this part, the leaning angle has been fixed, so it looks more natural. Yeah, and this is the canted side, you guys might remember. So yeah, that's it, guys. Again, I apologize for the delay. There was no such intent for me to delay all of this. I'll really have to optimize these lights. I know they are very heavy and performance intensive. That's why the frames are dropping. And yeah, these are the floor floodlights, as you can see. The good part is I can shoot any one of these and they'll turn off. See, I can just turn off any of these lights if I want. I don't know how to go up. Yeah, so if I shoot these, I can turn them off one by one. And let's see what's the time of day. It's 4 a.m. and the sun has risen. Good morning, Benghazi. Let's just turn off this light. And it's 4:40. It's, as you can see, when it'll go across 5, these lights will turn off. And they just did that. So I don't even have to shoot them. Right. So yeah, of course, I'll have to add some code to reset them. Like they should reset their state if I haven't shot them or something. Yeah, and as you can see, the arm is not snapping to the weapon. That is a problem that I need to fix with the IK, like I told you guys just right now. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope to see you guys in the next one soon enough with all of these issues fixed and with some animations added. I may do some workarounds and fixes, like maybe adding vertical foregrip instead, of attaching the hand to the foregrip directly instead of adding it to this barrel, or maybe something else, or maybe find a way to optimize metahumans, and if not, just create some characters differently, like entirely from scratch. I don't know what will come next. I hope it's the best for this game, and yeah, that's it, guys. See you in the next one, and cheers. Take care and have a nice winter holidays and a happy new year. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.